Philly 110, Milwaukee 107, final in overtime.
Get that final score in. Philadelphia 110, Milwaukee 107, overtime final.
For Chicago, Scott Lloyd replaces Ernest Gilmore.
Nice play. Got to make him count, though.
Should have made that one. They really have that confidence and that esprit de corps, man.
Anytime, John. That Chicago Bull is angry. His team is not doing well, and they've made the coaching change in Chicago. Scotty Robertson now heads up the Bulls. Larry Costello out as of 2 days ago. Today, the Bulls have a tough assignment. The Kansas City Kings, runaway leader in the NBA's Midwest Division.
They're on the floor and they're ready to score, so let the game begin.
Show is sponsored by RCA's Color Track. Getting the color right is what Color Track is all about. Chevrolet and Chevrolet dealers coast to coast. And by Pepsi Cola and your local Pepsi Cola bottler. Have a Pepsi Day.
Kemper Arena, Kansas City, Missouri. The Chicago Bulls in red going against the red-hot Kansas City Kings here on the Kings home floor. Hello, everyone. I'm Don Criqui. This is John McLaughlin. Kansas City has won 10 straight games at home, and they are moving it right out today. A big leader, 32 to 18, 33-18. And the Kings have been running the ball. Here's the guy that leads the way for them, Phil Ford, the brilliant backcourt player out of North Carolina. Darnell Hillman has just come into the game. Theus rebounding for Chicago, guns it down the floor to Charles Dudley. He's been the point guard for Chicago in this somewhat rejuvenated offense. Chicago, like every team, having trouble getting the ball inside against Kansas City.
Chicago's certainly struggling this year, Don, and we've talked about that quite a bit in the past, but now Scotty Robertson says we're going to try to run more, get more penetration, and tighten up the defense, but we haven't had time to work on it.
It's 33-20. Kansas City's in the lead. We have just 18 seconds to go in the first period. The coverage delayed in coming to you because of the coverage of that superior finish at the Daytona 500. Now, Mickey Johnson, who started it forward, brings the ball down the floor against one of the better defensive frontmen in the league, Scott Wedman. Inside to Lloyd. Gilmore is out right now. And we have a call inside from Ralph Limbo. Jake O'Donnell, Mike Mathis, and Limbo working the game.
Here you'll see Ford attempting to take the charge. The official calls it a blocking rather than a charging foul. And the officials will tell you, in professional basketball, that's one of the most difficult calls to make.
Ready, White. Give me room.
Charles Dudley inbounds the ball to John Brown. Didn't have enough there, trying to get it up before the end of the period. It comes up short. So the Kansas City Kings looking to extend their home court winning streak to 11 consecutive games. Jump out to a 13-point advantage through the first 12 minutes of play. We'll be back with the conclusion of this game throughout its entirety.
Can I help you?
Baboon Burger.
Nice car. What is it?
Chevy Chevette, best-selling hatchback in America.
What do you have on it?
AM radio, console, reclining bucket seats, white striped tires. It's all standard on the four-door Chevy Chevette, even the hatchback.
Love it, but I don't need the hatchback.
How come?
I've already got a trunk.
Chevy Chevette. A lot of car for the money.
Welcome to our people-pleasing places. Meet our people-pleasing faces.
Holiday Inn hotels are #1 in the world with people-pleasing standards.
Everything's perfect.
And the most popular locations at resorts throughout the world, right where you can do the things you want to do.
Wherever you go in this whole big traveling world.
We want to make you comfortable.
Holiday Inn is #1 in people-pleasing.
We in sports support Variety Clubs International, one of the greatest children's charities in the world. Variety provides funds for children's hospitals, camps, schools, limb banks, nurseries, and hundreds of additional programs to alleviate the plight of underprivileged and handicapped children. No one stands taller than he who stoops to help a child. So stand tall and help the needy kids in your area by supporting your local Variety Club. Thank you.
Preceding announcement was brought to you as a public service by the National Basketball Association.
Gotta run back now, guys. You gotta keep running
The Kansas City Kings in the first quarter put the ball up 25 times from the field, hit 16 at 64%. You're not going to beat that.
Well, of course, they always shoot a good percentage on the year. It proves it in the stat sheet, and that's because they push the ball out and get a number of easy shots, a number of layups.
Scotty Robertson, who was an assistant under Cotton Fitzsimmons, his counterpart today with Kansas City last season at Buffalo. The Kings are the 5th best shooting team in the NBA, 49%, over 49% as a team from the field. There's Cotton Fitzsimmons, who has to be the leading candidate right now for Coach of the Year, as he's come back to his home state of Missouri and has an excellent basketball team, and it's young. They have Phil Ford, who really tied it together, the backcourt player from North Carolina, who was the #1 player selected in the last draft, and as you'll see, Ford forces the ball up the floor every single time down. He's out right now, but a player Northwestern fans remember so well with the ball, Billy McKinney, free agent out of Northwestern, and he has done a job as big as Ford when he's come in.
McKinney was a good scorer. He's the all-time leading scorer at Northwestern, and here, of course, that's secondary. They want him to continue to push the ball up the court.
Leading scorer in the game right now, Wedman has 9 for Kansas City, as does Birdsong. He has 9. Mickey Johnson with 6 for Chicago leads the way. The Philadelphia 76ers beat the Milwaukee Bucks 110-107 in an overtime game today. Now Hillman of San Jose State, who came off the bench time and again this season to pick up the Kings, hits the jump shot. It's now a 35-20 game, Kansas City.
And I think it's interesting to talk about Kansas City. Here's a team that really has it together. They have their offense down when they don't have the fast break. They execute half court very nicely, and they play excellent team defense, trying to pressure as much as possible.
To make it work, you've got to use your 24 seconds to get something decent. Chicago consistently has to go to shots like that. The outside shots in this big man. That forward John Brown. Here comes Birdsong leading the break. Kansas City always has the pressure on, and when they have the ball, they make you play defense for 24 seconds.
They do. Now we have an offensive foul. The ball is going to go the other way. Moving pick called under the basket. And at the other end, we've talked about Kansas City and their guards and penetration, Don, but that's one of the problems the Bulls have had this year. They feel they haven't had the guard to get them the penetration and to run their team.
John Crash Menga looking for something inside. The Kings do not give you that lane. You've got to come around and pop from the outside. Very rarely to get a back door in his team. Here is Ollie Johnson trying to go baseline, doubled up on him. Rebound taken down by Hillman. There's a foul call inside. Looks like it's going to go against big guy, Gilmore.
It looked like he may have touched the ball even as it went up to the basket, but the official did not see that. Kansas City defense, Don, they're all over you. They swarm the ball. They give good, strong, weak side help.
Now, McKinney running the offense for the Kansas City Kings. Here's Richard Washington just back into the lineup. He's coming off an earlier season injury, back and well. But the Kings did lose the other night. Tom Burleson, their backup center, he went out with the knee injury that required surgery, so he'll not play again this season. That field goal made it 37-20. 11 points now for Birdsong. Big Artis Gilmore working hard. Would have gone for a three-point play.
Here you see the Kings trying to prevent him from putting the ball in so that he won't get 3 points. You'll see it again here. Now watch the rebound by Gilmore. This is a strong man, but look at Kansas City players. Bob Nash coming down on him. And that's one thing about Kansas City, Don. They're a physical team. They commit more fouls in each game than almost every other team in basketball with one exception, and that's Atlanta.
Kings a very aggressive club. There's no question in motion all the time on offense. Everybody handles the ball. Everybody's in the game, both at both ends of the floor. Bob Nash, you just saw us come into the game for Kansas City. Big forward out of Hawaii. Now, with the scores, you see 37-22. Kansas City in the lead. Kings have the ball. Here's McKinney. Dudley against him. Lots of motion, setting picks to either side of the lane. They bring their shooters from either side behind the picks. Rebound slapped over to Mengel. He looks to run, feeds it out to Dudley. Dudley searching out the field down court alley. Johnson breaks down off the baseline of the floor and throws in the jumper from 18 feet out and cuts the Kings lead to 13. John?
Now you see Chicago pushing the ball up the court. Actually, they would like to run more, but they feel like it's going to take some time to get into the groove of really pushing the ball up the court.
Kings like to go with one basic play. They call it the 2 series. They'll set 2 men low to the left picking and 1 man to the right. They'll bring shooters out from either side, crisscrossing across the lane, looking to break out behind those picks to shoot. That time, the field goal is up and good by McKinney, his first points of the game. The guy at 6 feet comes in for the rebound, but there's a foul prior to it.
Actually, Kansas City's offense does go to a point-type offense with the guard out and the shooters. Now we'll see the shot at the other end. Chicago putting it up, and we have a foul here, blocking under the boards. Gets a little rough under there now and then, Don.
Knocking him down. Dudley with the ball, getting the John Mengel. Ollie Johnson comes out high. Chicago having difficulty getting motion in their offense. They just block you out. Gilmore now gets free. Fouled up. Brown has missed 2 layups inside. He's infuriated over it. Here comes McKinney. Kansas City will run against a 5-man defense. You get 5 men back, they'll still run against them because they penetrate with those small guards. After Washington, that was so easy, you didn't know where the hoop was. Could not find the rack.
We've already had a number of layups missed at both ends of the court.
8:50 left to play in the first half. Rebound down to Brown. Good position on Washington. He's fouled by Darnell Hillman, and John Brown goes to the free throw line. Both teams well under the limit. Team fouls.
We'll see John Brown get this rebound after the shot by Johnson. Now watch it. He's not really on inside position, but the ball takes a good bounce, and he does a smart thing here. He takes the ball back into the basket, and that puts pressure on the defense, and therefore the foul.
Right now, we're going to have a break in the action here at Kansas City as Scotty Robertson calls over his Bulls to counsel them with 8:49 to play. In the first half, we'll be back in a moment.
Here's to good friends. Tonight is kind of special.
Hey, where's Bob? I thought he was with you.
No,
you're kidding.
He's not down yet.
Hey, don't you think something happened? Let's start looking.
Hey! How about a Lowenbrow?
Bob!
When you want the taste of a truly great American beer, tonight, let it be Lowenbrow.
Hey, you know, for a minute there, you really had us worried.
I know. Thanks.
When everything gets there on time, on budget, and intact,
That's Lion Moving and Storage.
that's Transamerica. When you can get more life insurance than you thought you could afford,
that's Occidental Life.
That's Transamerica. When it's your vacation and you fly there for less,
that's Trans International Airlines.
the many companies in the Transamerica family all stand for just one thing: first-rate service at a fair price. That's Transamerica.
Owens Corning built this glass house so you can see all the places insulation can save money, new home or old. Your attic. In severe climates, you may need insulating power up to R38, a foot of pink Owens Corning fiberglass. Another place to insulate. Floors over unheated garages or crawl spaces, and walls exposed to cold or heat.
Put your house in the pink. Get Owens Corning fiberglass insulation now. It's cheaper than oil.
Next week, regional coverage of NBA basketball here on CBS, the Knicks and the Nets in New Jersey. The 76ers go to Denver to play the Nuggets in a big game. Houston, starting to come out as the season wears on, goes to Central leader San Antonio. And Seattle, leader in the Pacific Division, right here to play the Midwest Division leading Kansas City Kings. A club that comes into this game today with a record of 36-21. Third best record in the NBA.
I think it's important for Chicago now, Don, to start closing the gap right away. Kansas City is a team with tremendous confidence. They're playing at home. Therefore, Chicago wants to tighten it up a little bit as you see them attempt to go into full court pressure.
They break right back off it. Now Holland in the game for Chicago. Substitutions also in for Kansas City as McKinney. Wrong armor throws it up with the left hand. And Billy McKinney with that quick jump shot gives the Kings a 41-26 lead. Mengel looks to Gilmore. Big man now, takes a look, doesn't do much with it, gives it back to Holland. Outside shots is about all you're going to get from the Kings. That time Holland hits over it. And the 13-point lead for the Kings.
Chicago would like to attempt to pressure full court more and more, and I think Scotty Robertson wants to work on that as he can, but he says, you know, you have to have the personnel to do it, and he's not sure he does.
Lucius Allen, the former UCLA All-American and Milwaukee Buck, who right here from Kansas City was picked up by this team, reactivated. He's in the game. On the drive to the basket, McKinney draws the foul.
Kansas City allows their guards to pretty much do what they want, and you'll see a clear out here for McKinney. Everyone goes to the other side, and they just let the little guy work here. Not only is he quick, but he has a lot of offensive moves, and you see him get inside, draw the foul, and almost 3 points.
Billy McKinney, he asked the Bulls last season if he could try out several times. They didn't think there was room for a 6-foot guard. He got a chance here at Kansas City. He was working as a printing salesman in Chicago and playing in 4 different leagues. Sometimes he'd play 3 games in a night.
Actually, the cards were stacked against him when he came here. He was going against a young man his same size, Mike Evans, the #1 draft choice here, and it looked like Evans might make the team, but McKinney hung in there, and the way they pushed the ball up the court, he was perfect.
Interestingly, McKinney's statistics projected over as many minutes as Ford plays are better than Ford's. Those are very good.
Don't tell Ford that.
You don't lose a thing, though. They haven't when McKinney's come in to replace him. Artis Gilmore foul by Robinson, and so the big man for Chicago goes to the line. We look at it back.
Here you see the big guy going to the offensive boards, and actually Chicago a pretty good rebounding team on the year. They're averaging 46 rebounds a game. Not too bad, and of course Gilmore is the type of player, as you see him miss the first free throw, that you have to try to check away as far away as possible, but he is so strong he can still get pretty good position by just backing you in.
Gilmore with excellent shooting percentages, 57 from the floor and 76 in the free throw line. Lucius Allen goes baseline, can't get it back on the reverse, and here comes Allie Johnson giving to Holland. Mickey Johnson takes a look. Robinson has him blocked off. What do we have here? 3 seconds.
3-second violation. This is one thing. The Bulls' offense, it's really not that sharp. Even once they're forced to set up, they seem a little hesitant. They're not executing that well. As you look at Scotty Robertson, of course, coach of the Chicago Bulls, pondering.
Cotton Fitzsimmons was saying before the game to Robertson and Gene Tormolen that there's a perfect reason why I got thrown out of 2 cities. Robertson was his assistant in Buffalo. Tormolen was assistant in Atlanta.
Scotty and Cotton got together prior to the game, and you should have seen that sparring match.
Well, I tell you, Cotton can chatter.
He sure can. He's a super guy right there. He's a good coach. He says you have to develop your bench. You've got to communicate with them and build confidence in them.
Cotton, there's that final from Philadelphia. They say Cotton can talk at 200 words a minute with gusts up to 250 words a minute.
That's true. A lot of that from a little guy.
Ollie Johnson looks inside. Mengel coming down the baseline of the floor. There's nothing open, though. The Kings hold position on defense.
McKinney a little too much body there, Don. And of course, as I mentioned, you know, the Kings play physical basketball. And if you do that all the time, if you do it from the onset of the game, the officials tend to let you play a little bit more physical than they would if you started it sometime during the game.
Right now we have 6:58 to play in the first half here at Kemper Arena, Kansas City. Don Criqui with John McLaughlin. NBA basketball on CBS. Our producer today is Bill Barnes. Our director, John McDonough. As Holland goes to the free throw line for Chicago and makes it a 43-30 game. Here comes Lacey, the running center, back into the game. Darnell Hillman goes out. Big Sam Lacey, he says that these young guys, tough on old Sam. He's the veteran. He dates back to your team at Cincinnati.
Yes, he does. He says actually that he's had better years individually, but that he's got his mind on such a team concept now, and he feels that he's really playing within that concept, and his main goal is to play the good defense and get the ball out on the fast break so this team can run. He gets into the fast break as good as any center I've ever seen himself.
Cotton Fitzsimmons was saying every time that Sam Lacey walks into the locker room, Phil Ford jumps up and says, all right, clear out that whirlpool. The old man needs that hot water. Let Lacey in there.
Warm him up. Yeah, it's not warm up as you get older, it's wear out, you know.
That's right. Like Richie Allen, that bar of soap. Only so much on there. You can't take batting practice. You wear it out. Robinson. They don't like him shooting too much. He's a rebounder by trade, and that's what Scotty Cotton Fitzsimmons likes him doing.
Come here.
But Robinson knocks it down. Here's Gilmore going inside, and big guy sets one right straight down.
Well, Lacey knew there's nothing you can do in that situation. Once he gets it that deep, just don't foul him and give him 3.
McKinney comes in. They double up on the ball to no avail. Little guy holds it. Good ball control. Goes up in the air. Knocks down another left-handed jump shot to give Kansas City a 14-point lead. Mickey Johnson slides inside. Chicago getting one of its few inside buckets.
That's right. Oh, the value of penetration. Of course, Chicago going inside. Here we have a turnover by McKinney. He doesn't do that often.
Bengelt leads to Johnson. Trip by McKinney.
We got 25.
Go to replay now. Watch Artis Gilmore a bit ago.
Now, what the Bulls try to do, they try to set Gilmore up different ways inside, but this time he came from the weak side away from the ball, toward the ball, and he caught it so close to the basket. Not much you can do.
Here's Darnell Hillman back in the game now for Kansas City. On the floor for the Kings, Lucius Allen, Scott Whitman, Hillman, Billy McKinney, and Sam Lacey. For Chicago, Charles Dudley, Artis Gilmore, Mickey Johnson to the free throw line. Reggie Theus has just come back in, and Ollie Johnson's in the game. A lot of talk that Mickey was on the trade block. Whitman and Ollie Johnson chit-chat.
Well, they were teammates at one time. Ollie Johnson, a very solid player. I think it was a good pickup for Chicago. He's given them some bench help. They've had problems there, they say, with team defense, that they really haven't played the defense that they would like. Therefore, they want to spend more time on it. And Cotton says, hey, our defense is what makes our offense go because we want to run.
Well, Chicago also is missing the real fleet guard that can whip that ball up the court like this guy here, McKinney or Ford. These guys will run against a 5-man defense. They'll just push it inside no matter what's back there waiting for them. That time McKinney can't get it to go. Theus with a nice rebound. Outlet pass to Dudley. Lead to Johnson. Back to Theus. A collision at midcourt. And McKinney is on the deck.
That was a gamble by McKinney. He saw them coming up after him, and he was not retreating. Therefore, he knew, I'm caught in between. I can't get back to protect. Let me try to draw this foul. And, of course, Reggie Theus lowered the boom on him, and the official caught it.
I think Billy lost some of his jewelry out there.
I think I see it in the middle of the court. Here you see a replay of it, and you'll see right in the middle of the court. Watch Theus run right over McKinney. We have it taken.
A lot of gold on that floor.
That's laying all over the place.
Right now, we're going to have a break in the action as Chicago starts to rally back into the game, down by 11 with 5:51 left to play in the first half. We'll be back in a moment.
Port of Call, Caribbean. The Navy. See your local recruiter or call toll-free. It's not just a job, it's an adventure.
Got a big load to haul? Get a tough Chevy van. The 125-inch wheelbase model handles plenty of cargo. It's also got a wider sliding side door opening and wider and higher rear doors than its 2 closest sales competitors. Now, check these dimensions. Rear doors to engine, rear doors to seat, floor to roof. And look at that turning circle. Got a tough job? Get a tough Chevy van.
Chevy trucks, built to stay tough.
Excuse me, sir. I'd like you to try something.
Okay.
Hold out your hand.
Hey, what is that?
That's Track 2 shave cream, and that's another brand. Feel any difference?
The Track 2 feels heavier.
That's because the Track 2 is heavier. It's packed with moisturizers.
Moisturizers?
They help hold the moisture in your skin so your face feels good after you shave.
After I shave?
It'll feel soft and moisturized.
Great. Wait, what do I do now?
Shave?
Track 2, heavy with moisturizers.
Next Sunday on CBS Sports Challenge of the Sexes, see two top golfers matching shots, world-class speed skaters matching strides, and champion bowlers matching strikes. You'll say, you saw it on CBS Sports.
Now, that'll be interesting. Suzanne Summers and Sammy Davis Jr. playing billiards.
I'll go with Suzanne Summers any day.
Okay. That's next Sunday at Challenge of the Sexes, Celebrity Challenge of the Sexes. The technical was on Reggie Theus, and it's now 48-37 game. Kansas City in the lead with the basketball. 5:41 to play first half. Here's Wedman. Stolen nicely by Dudley for Chicago. Outlet lead goes to Ollie Johnson, and Wedman is back. Nothing on the baseline, so they go back and set it up with 17 seconds on the shot clock. Theus, good move. Gets the roll.
Theus is a fine basketball player. He's somewhat uncontrolled, but he has tremendous quickness, and as you can see,
he's a racer.
Real height for a guard, and he likes to go inside. He can also go outside.
So the Bulls, down by 14 not that long ago, have now cut the lead to 9. Lucius Allen with a good fake, penetrates. Lacey gets a free shot. Hickok can deliver.
Sam can go outside and inside. Of course, on this offense, they like to open up the middle, let the guards penetrate, and they have enough of them that can do it.
A holding call inside. Mike Mathis. 15th foul of the second period on Kansas City. They're over the limit with 4:48 to play. Chicago has 3 team fouls.
Here you see the replay. You see a little holding here. Lacey doesn't really want to allow Gilmore to get to that position toward the ball. And it was the same play that they ran before when Gilmore did get a three-point play out of it. He came away from the ball toward the ball. Lacey's trying to keep him from doing that.
While Chicago's having an off-season, Gilmore's having a very good one. One of the top scorers, second in rebounding. He's in with a 24.5 point a game average.
He's in the top 10 in 4 categories in the NBA.
Lacey gets the loose ball. Hillman goes inside. Gilmore intimidates, and here comes Theus. Boy, he could go like Secretariat down the floor with the ball. Feeds off to Johnson. Too much on it. Lacey rebounds. Outlet. Here's Ford. Watch this. Off to Birdsong. He's a killer from the outside, but can't get that to go. Hillman working hard.
Kansas City's had a number of offensive rebounds early in this game, just because Chicago trying to pick up on their fast break, getting caught, not blocking off.
52-41, Kansas City. Chicago with the ball as Gilmore now starts to post himself low. He was coming out earlier. Dudley at 6'2" works. He's rejected by Hillman. Here comes Birdsong. Filling the lane is Lacey on the left side. Airmails it again.
There's another example of what we talked about. Sam Lacey, the center, getting in on the fast break. And if a center will run, he can get down and get a number of easy shots like that one.
Artis Gilmore coming down low, hits the basket, and he draws the foul. So he'll go for the three-point play now, bringing Chicago back to within 11. He can cut it to 10. Gilmore, so far in the game, has 11 points for the Bulls. He leads them in scoring. Mickey Johnson has 10. And Bill Robenzien, the big blue demon from DePaul, comes back in.
Lacey out, and that moves Hillman to the center position. They could also use Richard Washington at center, but I would imagine they'll go with Hillman more often in that position.
Kansas City's starting lineup is all #1 draft choices. Wedman, Robenzien, Lacey, Ford, and Birdsong. Richard Washington was also one, came out of UCLA after his junior year. Mickey Johnson comes up with the basketball, gives it to Dudley. 54-44, Chicago down by 10. Johnson takes a look inside. He's a player that will consistently give up the ball when he sees the man open. You have a little semi-jumper.
Well, Kansas City would prefer to see Chicago go outside and do that, especially Dudley, who's not a good outside shooter.
Getting his first points, Dudley scores. Now, Birdsong has 13 for Kansas City.
Well, Kansas City just really keeps the pressure on you, don't they?
Never let up.
Even when they don't have a fast break or an obvious fast break, they push it up, keep pressure on the defense.
Aggressive at both ends, and here's Theus breaking free inside. Slides it off the backboard and cuts the lead to 8 points. Reggie Theus now scored 6 for the Bulls.
Get out, work on it.
Dudley, who's on Ford, is a good defensive player, very underrated. He plays it tough. You got to work to get some on Dudley.
Yeah, he does play it tough. And Wedman coming back with that nice little tough shot. He's got such a soft touch. Their offense is so simple, it's unbelievable, but it's effective.
You got 5 plays, and they use about 3. One they use all the time is go. Here is Birdsong coming off the baseline to score. You can give him a free shot. You can stick a hand in his face.
He'll miss now and then, but you can't give him that type of shot that often and expect to win the game. The Bulls are going to have to react to that and get back on defense.
The Kings have opened up a 6.5-game lead over Denver in the Midwest Division. You recall last year, Kansas City was dead last.
Yes. It's amazing how quickly things can change both directions.
That's not like football. We have 45 guys in the roster. One key player was the difference here, Phil Ford, and actually McKinney coming in. Those are 2 guards. Both playing the same position and alternating. Right now, we have a break in the action. 2:02 to go in the first half.
My wife got the house, but I got the Sony.
Darn. I thought they were going to give me a Sony.
Most people feel very special about Sony Trinitron Color TVs, probably because Sony Trinitron Color TVs are very special. You see, it's not just a TV, it's a Sony.
I hope he's not disappointed. I think he was expecting a Sony.
Introducing Hertz Takeoff Rates. Save up to 35% on the average weekday rental when you take off Thursday through Sunday for a minimum of 2 to 3 days. Take off in a subcompact for only $13.95 a day. Fairmont's $15.95. Granada $17.95. Thunderbirds $21.95 a day. All with no charge for mileage. There are some restrictions, so check with Hertz. Take off next weekend with Hertz low takeoff rates.
In business, the more efficiently you use your time, the more money you make.
Time is money.
So if you're spending hours dictating letters to far-off places, and hours are spent typing them,
I've got other work to do.
Kick the letter habit. Pick up your phone and give them a ring. The phone turns your time into money.
An innocent man is suddenly caught in a nightmare he cannot understand and may not survive. A devastating thriller starring Dustin Hoffman and Laurence Olivier in a television premiere. Marathon Man. He's running for his life. The CBS Sunday movie special at 9, 8 Central and Mountain.
Dudley set to inbound the ball now for Chicago. Gives it to Theus. It's a 60-48 game, Kansas City. 1:58 to play in the first half. John Brown back in the game. Post and high looking for men cutting low. Theus, good hands, takes it back. Pumps it over to Mickey Johnson. Denver leading New Orleans by 2 in the first period. Shot clock ran out.
That's only the second turnover for the Bulls in the second quarter, 6 for the game. Both teams have 6 as a matter of fact. But the Bulls have been concerned about their turnovers all year, and they're trying to cut them down.
Birdsong is rejected by Mickey Johnson. But Charles Dudley saving the ball, stepped down the inbound line.
You see Birdsong going inside. Just a few too many big guys in there. Good timing here. Actually, Birdsong shot the ball on the way down, allowing the defensive man to block it.
Wow, this guy's such a good player. Scott Wedman out of Colorado, now in his 5th season, 18.2 scoring average, a 53% field goal shooter, 80% free throw shooter. Built himself up with a weight training program. He's 6'7", he put on 15 pounds in the offseason. It's all muscle. He's up to 235.
Wow, nice move by Reggie Theus. Continuation there, potential three-point play. Really, it was a broken play. Reggie just dribbles the ball all the way around the court here. And you'll see him, here it is again. Hillman switching up to try to play him, and a little bit too much body, and the foul's called, three-point play. Theus is an excellent one-on-one player. We've talked about him. He's an exciting player. Matter of fact, he's the leading scorer for rookies in the NBA this year.
Reggie Theus, he comes from a running school. Sometimes they're running from the NCAA. Nevada, Las Vegas, New Jersey, trailing Houston in the first period. And San Diego down by a point to Atlanta, first period score. And here at Kansas City, an 11-point game, Kansas City. Wedman off the baseline, get it up high.
Oh, look at that little guy push the ball up the court, Ford. Wow. They get so much action out of him. If they don't have something set, they just let him go and he creates something.
Dudley down low, Ford against him off the baseline. Here's Mickey Johnson looking to put it up and does, gets it down. It's now a 64-53 game. We're inside a minute to go in the first half. Ford takes it to the basket, feeds off to Wedman, but Dudley is there to take the ball back, and now Chicago, with 44 seconds left, pushes the ball up quickly, and here is a technical foul on Coach Fitzsimmons.
Cotton spends most of the time kneeling down on one knee on a towel so he can communicate with his players, and that time he communicated with more people than his players.
Cotton can chatter. He's going to be a Hall of Famer today. Moberly Jr., college where he coached for 9 years, is honoring him, and Charles Dudley was a player for him there. They're both going into the Moberly Hall of Fame.
Hey, Charlie!
Wherever that is.
You're in the Notre Dame Hall of Fame, aren't you?
Yeah, you bet.
See if he knows the rule.
You and a few other 100,000 people, right? Notre Dame. They have a team this year.
Got some players. Cotton Fitzsimmons now still talking.
That didn't change a thing, Ralph. You're still off.
You're still. Doesn't change a thing, Ralph. You're still wrong.
$75 worth.
All right, ready?
Cotton Fitzsimmons was saying before the game, Phil Ford can do everything, but Ford says he does have the white man's disease. He can't dunk.
I knew what that was like, let me tell you.
You had that in LA's.
I was born with it.
Here's Ollie Johnson hitting it off the baseline of the floor. And Ford, he doesn't give that defense any chance to set up. Keeps the heat on all the time. Dances down it. Dudley gives him about as good a run as anybody I've seen against him.
Kansas City seems to be an impossible team to try and pressure because they have so many people that can handle the ball, especially Ford. And here's a great example of their offense. Ford out top, two people on each side of the court setting screens for one another, and then he goes one-on-one.
Phil Ford, who the last 2 years was the Atlantic Coast Conference Athlete of the Year, the NCAA Player of the Year in basketball, and the #1 draft choice, gets a bucket just before the first half ends. And so, after the first 2 periods of play, the Kansas City Kings move out to a 10-point lead over Chicago. Led by Wedman with 16, by Birdsong with 15. We'll be back with a Calvin Murphy roast in a minute.
We are super critical on that line. We'll knock down engines for a bad paint job, and that's no jive, man. Quality control is the most important aspect of the whole business.
James Rock, Quality Control Inspector. This is who we are and what we do at General Motors.
If the customer has problems with that car, then we got problems, because he's not going to be a General Motors customer again. We have 9 inspection stations. I go around to critical points on the line to ensure that they're doing the job right. I run hot tests. You can listen to that engine and you can say, well, this one's a good one or this one's a bad one. It's a good feeling. It's a little feeling of power. There's nobody going to overrule you. But we want to ensure that by the time that it's shipped to the assembly divisions, that engine does function in the way that it's designed to function. I feel personally responsible for that car. I know it's a good car. I know we build it and we build it right.
General Motors, people building transportation to serve people.
Here's to good friends. Tonight is kind of special.
Hello, Consley.
Hi, Dad.
I heard a rumor you finally passed the bar exam.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Frank?
Frank will have the prime ribs and a couple of Lowenbrow.
Prime ribs? Lowenbrow? What are you doing?
Buying dinner for the guy who put me through law school.
When you want the taste of a truly great American beer, tonight, let it be Lowenbrow.
Just the good friends.
Good friends.
Daddy, Marvin has something to tell you.
My 79 Chevy Monza wagon has more cargo room than any American sedan.
Marvin.
Even with the back seat up. And Monza is Chevrolet's lowest priced wagon.
Very nice.
Marvin.
Monza wagon has an impressive EPA mileage rating.
Marvin.
It has standard bucket seats, I Want to Marry Your Daughter, and white striped tires. Sir?
Oh, Marvin, he likes you.
Please, I'd like to introduce you to a gentleman who runs franchise.
Here at halftime, it is the Kansas City Kings 66, the Chicago Bulls 56. Don Criqui with John McLaughlin, leading scorer for Kansas City. Wedman with 16, Birdsong hit 15. Everybody scored, though. Lacey had 10, Robenzine 7, Ford 6. McKinney came off the bench, hit for 8. Leaders for Chicago, Mickey Johnson had 12 and Artis Gilmore had 12. 9 for Reggie Theus, 8 for Holland. And Ollie Johnson came in to score 5. But it's that running, gunning Kansas City and aggressive defense. What do we have going on here now?
Kansas City, a difficult team to play to stop because of the way they run, but Chicago must contend with it.
The players of the NBA participate in many events, as you know, for charity and community organizations all year round. Last week, the Big Brothers of Houston sponsored a roast of little man Calvin Murphy. The most surprising roaster of all was Calvin's longtime friend, roommate, and neighbor, Rudy Tomjanovich. In Houston, they call Rudy and Calvin the Odd Couple.
The other half of the Odd Couple is Rudy Tomjanovich. We had a chance to go out and visit with the two of them today. They were carefully snuggled away in one house. So we had no problem. Here's Rudy Tomjanovich in his 5th All-Star game this year.
I was going to say it's a pleasure to be here. I don't know now. But since this is a toast and roast, I think it's a good time to have a toast. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's raise our glasses high to honor the little man. Ladies and gentlemen, the best little guard in the NBA, an all-star great, truly one of the all-time greats, Nate Archibald. Nate couldn't be here tonight. We got to settle for Murph. As a teenager, Calvin thought he was Chinese. You've heard of Egg Foo Young and Kung Fu. He thought his name was Hey Fu Murphy. But you couldn't blame him, because everybody would walk up to him and say, "Hey, fool, give me a quarter," or "Hey, fool, pass the ball." Yeah, he was a dumb kid. You know, he didn't even know what his father did for a living. He thought his father was a psychiatrist. Because the man used to stare at him for hours and say, "Are you crazy?" You know, it's been 9 years, and it's been 9 long years I've been rooming with this guy, and I'm tired of it. I told him about that. I said, "What kind of guy carries around batons?" You know, and his outfits don't help the matter either. I mean, this guy doesn't believe in conservative colors, you know. He's got passionate pink outfits and radiant red or canary yellow. I told him they start talking, "Murph, get it together, man. Athletes are supposed to be macho." But I've been spending so much time with Murphy, I have to admit that it has rubbed off on me a little bit. Especially after a long road trip. The way I talk. Like, my wife thinks I'm crazy after a long trip. Because I used to come home and say, you know, "Dear, I missed you dearly, and how are the children doing?" Now, after a long trip, I say, "Hey, Mama, what's happening?" You know, Calvin and I are completely opposite. I'm white, he's black. I'm tall, he's short. I'm a man of few words, he's always running off at the mouth. Although my nose has been moved around my face a little bit, I think I'm a halfway good-looking guy. Look at that man. That is an ugly man. And people have asked me, you know, how could people so different get along? And for 9 years, you know, I haven't come up with one good reason. Usually at the end, people say a lot of good things about Calvin, but I'm not going to say anything like that. He knows how I feel about him. He's like my brother. I would like to say to the Big Brothers and to the sports writers and sportscasters, thank you for honoring my buddy. stare at him for hours and say, "Are you crazy?" You know, it's been 9 years, and it's been 9 long years I've been rooming with this guy, and I'm tired of it. I told him about that. I said, what kind of guy carries around batons? You know, and his outfits don't help the matter either. I mean, this guy doesn't believe in conservative colors, you know. He's got passionate pink outfits and radiant red or canary yellow. I told him they start talking, "Murph, get it together, man. Athletes are supposed to be macho." But I've been spending so much time with Murphy, I have to admit that it has rubbed off on me a little bit. Especially after a long road trip, the way I talk. Like, my wife thinks I'm crazy after a long trip. Because I used to come home and say, you know, "Dear, I missed you dearly, and how are the children doing?" Now, after a long trip, I say, "Hey, Mama, what's happening?" You know, Calvin and I are completely opposite. I'm white, he's black. I'm tall, he's short. I'm a man of few words, he's always running off at the mouth. Although my nose has been moved up around my face a little bit, I think I'm a halfway good-looking guy. Look at that man. That is an ugly man. And people have asked me, you know, how could people so different get along? And for 9 years, you know, I haven't come up with one good reason. Usually at the end, people say a lot of good things about Calvin, but I'm not going to say anything like that. He knows how I feel about him. He's like my brother. I would like to say to the big brothers and to the sports writers and sportscasters, thank you for honoring my buddy.
Here we are back at Kemp Arena in Kansas City. We have something out of a Fellini movie going on here. 8 million square dancers.
Wow, this is wild. They don't have a lot of room to move out there, but they're doing a pretty good job of it. There's as many people on the court as there are in the stands right now.
We've got 15,000 people here, and I think half of them are out there hoeing down.
They're having a good time.
So at 66-56 at halftime, the NBA on CBS will continue after this word from your local station.
Dustin Hoffman, Laurence Olivier, in the television premiere of Marathon Man, the CBS Sunday movie special at 9, 8 Central and Mountain.
This is CBS.
Basketball is everyone's game. Short folks, tall folks, girl folks, boy folks, young folks, all folks. Basketball is everyone's game. Basketball, it's your game.
At the conclusion of today's game and each of our NBA telecasts during the season, we'll be selecting the Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the Game. In conjunction with this award, Chevrolet will present a check for $1,000 to the General Scholarship Fund of the player's college or university. Any student may be eligible to benefit from these scholarship funds. Today's winner will be announced at the end of the telecast. John McLaughlin, you and I will be voting for the MVP, and should we disagree, our producer, Bill Good News Barnes, will cast the deciding vote. And here at the half, it is 66-56. The Kansas City Kings with that running game are out in front. The Chicago Bulls shot almost 47% in the first half, which isn't bad, but Kansas City hit 61%. That's going to beat you.
Well, Kansas City getting a lot of layups, a lot of open shots because of the fast break. And that's why they shoot so good on the year, Don. They've always get that shot.
And now we're going to take a look at the standings. The playoffs aren't that far away. Right now in the Atlantic Division, Washington holding to a lead over Philadelphia. Actually, San Antonio, the leader in the Central Division, has the second best one-loss percentage record in the Eastern Conference. So right now, Washington, San Antonio, of course, with the best record. Subsequently comes the home court advantage in the playoffs. And then out in the West, we have Kansas City up by 6.5 games at the moment over Denver.
Well, that's amazing, and I think Kansas City is definitely, to say the very least, elated about that. And this is how it would look if it ended today. Seattle, of course, a team that has it all together, also playing very good basketball. Los Angeles, not too far behind, though.
Ooh. They're right in there. The Lakers are very close. But Kansas City is a club that you're going to hear from, and you talk about encouraging developments. Anybody that is down, all these different teams, it doesn't take that long to come up. They were the worst. They had the best, they had the #1 draft choice. The last shall be first in the
That
standing.
#1 draft choice has done a lot for them, obviously, but also the progression of some of their other players as well as their bench. That's important to the Kansas City Kings.
This family takes their Sunday drive on Suzuki street bikes. Mom rides the GS 425, Dad the new 850 Shaft, and Junior the Quick 1000. Nice thing about a family that rides together is they don't have to stay together.
Suzuki, the performer ride.
If I were shopping around for life insurance myself, and if I knew what I know as a life insurance agent for State Farm, I'd buy it from State Farm. And I really mean that, because I know what we as agents feel our job is toward our clients, and I know how our company feels about it.
And like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
You know me as Mr. Goodwrench, the professional mechanic who cares about your GM car. But your participating GM dealer also has a Mr. Goodwrench who cares at the service write-up desk and in the parts department. We're all over the service department, just to be sure your GM car gets Mr. Goodwrench professional care.
You never had it so good.
Keep that great GM feeling
With Mr. Goodwrench.
That's us.
and genuine GM parts.
As an NBA player, I know the importance of being physically fit, but I also know physical fitness isn't just for professional athletes. Throughout the country, United Way-supported Girl Scout sports programs help young women develop an interest in athletics while building personal relationships. I'm Dan Issel, and I know it works because I'm a volunteer for the Girl Scouts. Thanks to you, it works for all of us, the United Way.
The preceding announcement was brought to you as a public service by the National Basketball Association. The NBA on CBS is sponsored by Chevrolet and Chevrolet dealers coast to coast. The Miller Brewing Company, brewers of Miller High Life. If you've got the time, we've got the beer. And by Hilton Hotels Corporation. Wherever you go, there's a Hilton waiting to serve you.
This is Don Criqui back at Kansas City. Scored halftime, Kings 66, Bulls 56. And now for more on the first half and what we're going to see in the second, we go to two distinguished basketball gentlemen, John McLaughlin and Cotton Fitzsimmons.
Thank you, Don. Cotton, talked to you prior to the game, and you mentioned to me you were somewhat concerned with Chicago because oftentimes after a coaching change, a team comes out and plays very well.
No question about that. I know they're going to play hard for Scotty and for Gene Tormolin, and I thought we lost the tempo there in the second quarter, and we fouled too much and turned it over too much. We better get the tempo back here in the third or we're in trouble.
So at halftime, that's what you talked about. Let's push the ball up the court more.
Let's us control the tempo. Don't let the Bulls control it. We gave up too many points because of the fouls and the turnovers.
Okay, Cotton, thank you very much. Back to you, Don.
Okay, set to go now at halftime. 66-56. There is the breakdown. Chicago 47% from the field. Kansas City 61%. You're just not going to beat that unless they only take 5 shots. Free throws, all right. Assists, Chicago with a big disparity there. Kansas City has 19-8 for Chicago. There's the breakdown and scoring for the Bulls. Bulls have to get more from the back line. And then with Gilmore, Wedman leading the way for Kansas City. Birdsong with 15, Lacey with 10. McKinney came off the bench. Billy McKinney, we talked about him. What a success story. He used to watch the NBA on WBBM television in Chicago last year and just hope. Play in those winter leagues. Asked for tryouts in different teams. Kept at it, kept working, and here he is as a free agent. More than just a player, he's a star here.
When you were his age, there was no NBA to watch on television, was there not?
I used to have it on. I used to play in Syracuse then.
Oh, wow. In the snow, right?
Well, when I was his age, they had the regular thing going then. How old do you think I am?
About 35.
You got it. I'll accept that.
I know you will.
66-56, the halftime score. Scotty Robertson with his big Chicago Bulls around him. A lot of players, when they talk about Gilmore, say he's not only one of the best centers in the league, he might be the strongest player in the league.
You know, I believe that. I've seen him take people off the ground when he's moving for a shot and they've grabbed a hold of the ball, and just with his strength, he's continued on to put it in. He's a difficult player to deny position, Don. You know, once he starts moving in there, once he wants to go to a certain position, it's very hard to keep him away from that position.
It's like the guy that was talking about what are they going to do when basketball becomes all 7-footers. Well, obviously, the game is not going to that. They're going to littler guys, but there's some speculation at one time that if you have to go to a height minimum requirement, if you had 3 7-footers, then you have to bring in Willie Shoemaker to balance it.
Here we see Houston, New Jersey score. New Jersey's played very well this year, as a matter of fact. Saw them just recently. And, of course, this was overtime. Milwaukee losing in Philadelphia. San Antonio running and gunning, but Detroit hanging tight, 57-55.
Bill Ford over the midcourt line with Holland against him goes to Birdsong. So very quick to the basket. This Houston All-American drives. Boy, what a talk about the Elgin Baylor first step.
Nice move. He took it right to the big guys. I don't think the defense expects Birdsong to go to the basket the way he shoots the jump shot.
Offensive foul against the Bulls. It goes back over to Kansas City. You recall last year, Birdsong was the second player selected in the NBA draft. Milwaukee took Benson from Indiana. Then Kansas City took Birdsong. There was some criticism after the way Marcus Johnson turned out at Milwaukee. He was drafted, I think, number 3 or 4 in the first round. But playing away from the ball, Birdsong has been just superb. He's not a ball handler. He's like a Westfall. He likes to be away from it. He gets free, and then he can really hit that percentage shot in or out. Shoot from way out.
Way
Bill
out.
Ford goes to Wedman. A lot of motion in the Kansas City offense. Above all, they give the ball up. Guys open, you'll get it. Theus rebounds out to Holland. Landsberger on the left, Johnson on the right. Mickey Johnson's going to take it. Too much. Landsberger working hard, fires it back up.
Landsberger's a good rebounder and a very good offensive rebounder. You have to concentrate on him. But there was a situation where really the Bulls had a 3-on-1 fast break. They should have got a layup out of that rather than a jump shot.
Robinson. Gilmore just tips it back to himself. Here comes Theus. He gets an open lane. He'll take it in and take off from the foul line. Can Holland take it down there? A little bit hard on the touch, but gets it right on down.
Cotton Fitzsimmons talking about tempo. Actually, the Bulls now picking up the Kansas City tempo and wanting to run. And I'm sure they don't want to get into a running game with Kansas City.
Birdsong throws it back. Wedman comes out and works hard for the ball. Watch out for Birdsong off the baseline. That's where he likes to play. Lacey has some trouble with the ball, as we have here. Foul on Theus. He's better hold it down to get a second team.
And that's goodbye.
So right now we're going to have a timeout with 10:20 left to play in the third period. Chicago's cut the Kansas City lead to 8. It is 68-60 as the Bulls head back over to their new head coach, Scotty Robertson, and we'll be back with the rest of this ball game in a moment.
We love baseball, hot dogs, apple pie, and Chevrolet.
You sure are getting behind Chevy's new midsize Malibu, America. And why not? It's got the right mileage estimates, the right size, the right feel, the right look, and the right room. And for a lot of folks, it's got the right name, too. Chevy Malibu. The 79 Chevy Malibu could be just right for you.
A fresh new slice of apple pie called Chevy Malibu.
$30 million aircraft comes in for a service check, your crew takes over, and you take charge. It takes training and skill, but in 10 short hours, it's all systems go. Flight 110 is back on the line. And now comes Miller time. Time to head for the best tasting beer you can find. Miller High Life, America's quality beer since 1855.
If you've got the time, we've got the beer. Miller tastes too good to hurry through. So when it's time to relax, we've got the Miller beer.
That's the best picture I've seen in a long time.
They start their fans young here, don't they?
He's liking it. Next Friday night, I'll be at Madison Square Garden for the AAU National Indoor Track and Field Championships. You'll see the highlights of that event next Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock Eastern Time here on CBS. Some of the great ones will be running. John Walker, the world record holder in the mile, will be competing. The world record holder in the 60-yard dash, Houston McTeer, will be there. A great mile expected, Franklin Jacobs, indoor world record holder in the high jump. And in women's competition, the distance running of Francie LaRue and Jan Merrill, and the hurdling of Debbie LaPlante. That's the National AAU Track and Field Championships highlights next Saturday afternoon here on CBS. Reggie Theus coming down on the run. Chicago has cut the Kansas City lead to 8. They can bring it down to 6. Holland's got it.
And Chicago's done it by pushing the ball up the court, but also they're tightening up their defense in this third quarter, not allowing the Kings the easy basket.
Wilbur Holland comes off the baseline to hit the shot. It's a 6-point game. Theus goes down hard.
Well, Theus has his hands full, and here you'll see Birdsong. He really comes from the weak side. He comes down the lane. Off-ball movement, he moves exceptionally well without the ball, but Theus trying to block his cut, got called for the foul. That's 4 on him.
4 on Theus, 2 on the Bulls in the third period, none on Kansas City. Here comes Chicago on the run as Landsberger rebounds to Theus. Holland down the middle, and Theus heads to the basket, cut off by Birdsong. Theus drawing the shooting foul. He's an acrobat.
Wow, that's a typical Theus move. He likes to advance the ball up, get in on the fast break, and he gets into that position. He has excellent reversing moves, and of course then he jumps into the basket, and that puts pressure on the defensive player and drew the foul.
Next Friday night, Rocky Marciano meets Muhammad Ali in an event stage to determine the all-time heavyweight champion of the world. That's next Friday night, a CBS late night special presentation. Marciano Ali. Think you get much of a gate if you get those two in the ring?
Oh, wow.
Reggie Theus, a 6'6" guard, is starting to bump inside as Robenzien and Landsberger exchange elbows, looking for position on a rebound that never came, as Theus now brings the Chicago Bulls to within 4 points. It's 68-64 with 9:30 to play in the third period. Birdsong starts to the basket before he can get there. A violation is called.
Traveling violation. They clear out the side for Birdsong to go one-on-one. He got caught, and that's not what they want to do. They're better when they push it. And they, of course, want to push it up the court, try to get that fast break going again.
So now Chicago can get to within 2. Mengele in the game. Johnson coming out high. They're keeping Gilmore down low and looking to go to him against Lacey, who's much shorter. Not quite enough there, and Lacey rebounds, and here comes Phil Ford down the middle for Kansas City. Lanes fill on either side. Lacey takes the feet off, and Sam Lacey's way short. And Wilbur Holland at 6 feet comes down the rebound. Landsberger starts baseline. Wedman cuts him off. Boy, Wedman did such good position.
Well, and he did a smart thing. He put his hands straight up in the air and held position. He knew that if he reached in for the ball, that's how you get a majority of your fouls called in the NBA.
The Kansas City Kings have led by as many as 14 points. They were up at 10 at the half, but now with 8:50 to play in the third period, 68-64. Kansas City's lead is down to 4. As Phil Ford, dancing with the basketball, trying to get inside. So the Kings' biggest lead was 17 at one point early in the second quarter.
Phil Ford just dribbling as you get an opportunity to look at it again. He really is trying to create something. He gets in deep. Chicago plays the good defense.
Birdsong takes a look at Wedman. They play a perimeter offense now. Chicago switching on defense down low. The ball is intercepted by Landsberger and by Johnson. They fight for it and lose it.
Lacey threw that to red jerseys that time rather than white ones, but Chicago getting the good weak side help.
Artis Gilmore making noise out there. He's protesting as Birdsong throws up a shot that doesn't go, but he was fouled.
Now, Mengelt got caught that time, Don. He actually had his back to the ball, and he let Birdsong set up too deep in front of the basket. And, of course, they just flipped it over Mengelt's head, and Birdsong already had good position, and that's how he drew the foul.
Otis Birdsong, Kansas City's leading scorer with 21.4 average, as you see. And a good shooter, 51% from the field. Coach Fitzsimmons taking care of the good suit now. He's got the towel down to kneel on.
Keep that towel.
Likes to give those officials a low target when he's that low profile on the sideline.
When he's standing, he's a low target.
They really kid him. He's a very funny guy. Larry Staverman, the assistant general manager, says we keep him here because when the circus comes in, he's the best man when they marry the midgets. Birdsong heading to the basket. Landsberger, strong out of Arizona State. Whips the ball up to Holland, and Chicago playing more aggressively with the ball now, forcing it down quickly. Mengelt coming off the baseline, sets it again. Chicago standing now in offense.
Well, that's a bad shot selection. They ought to move the ball around a little more. They're trying to go to Gilmore, and Kansas City realizes it, trying to come in and double team on him when he gets the ball.
Bill Ford doesn't put much on the ball. He gives it that North Carolina point.
He has no rotation at all on the ball, but he can shoot it. But see, there was an example of Kansas City coming down and continuing to get off-ball movement. And by getting that movement, they got a good shot out of it. Ford lost his man in the corner for the jump shot.
Well, Chicago wants to stem the tide now. As you saw, they came back to within 4. A couple of quick buckets by Kansas City. It makes it up to 8 now for the Kings, and they'll talk it over.
We're going to take you on an impossible business trip. 26 cities in 25 seconds. You'll find an airport Hilton in every one of these cities. So the next time you have an impossible business trip, remember Hilton. We can make an airport a great place to get your feet back on the ground.
There's no place like Hilton. You're feeling good about yourself. The way you should about yourself.
You're feeling good about yourself, and it shows. You're drinking 1-calorie Diet Pepsi-Cola, the taste that's changing the taste of America.
And you're drinking Diet Pepsi. Yeah, you're drinking Diet Pepsi. And it shows.
Outward Bound, Rota, Spain. The Navy. See your local recruiter or call toll-free. It's not just a job, it's an adventure.
Some of the great ones next Sunday on Challenge of the Sexes. Nancy Lopez. The women golf for the year goes against Bill Rogers, who won the Bob Hope last year. Hudson Golf and bowling, Patty Costello against Carmen Salvino. Speed skating, Sylvia Birkin, Gatton Boucher of Quebec, Canada. That's next Sunday at 1 o'clock Eastern Time prior to NBA basketball. 72-66 now. A 6-point advantage for Kansas City. 14 points in this game so far for Holland, who's come off the bench for Chicago. They play very well. Reject by Johnson. Landsberger comes up with the ball, and Chicago are starting to get it together here.
Boy, Robinson had moved Mickey Johnson right out of there with his size, but he came back with a block, and there's 2 points there. Mickey Johnson can play the game. He's been up and down this year, but that time he was up.
Again, it's a 4-point game. Scotty Robertson's first game since taking over for Larry Costello was last Friday night, as the Bulls beat the New York Knicks at Chicago Stadium, and now the Bulls can come back to within 2. Robertson said before the game we might be in the throes of a losing season, but we're going to play hard. We're not down. Mickey Johnson takes a look. Here's Gilmore coming outside.
You won't see him move out that high that often unless they're trying to set someone up down low catcher looked like perhaps Mickey Johnson. But still, they end up with a bad shot, and that's when you need to guard penetration.
Bill Ford brings it into the middle again, and Wedman, he's murder out there, and Wedman knocks it down. Net never moved. Hit the back of the iron, dropped it right down.
There you see contrasting styles on those particular plays. Kansas City coming back, playing the good percentage, getting a better shot than what Chicago did by just advancing it up the court.
Big game is Washington's the other way. Here comes Phil Ford. But look at, there's two guys right behind him. He had two guys trailing on a breakaway in a rare occasion that he might not get it down, which turned out to be the case.
Don, that's important to follow up like that. None of the Bulls players even went back with him. And you have to do that. You've seen people miss breakaway layups wide open. He really wasn't open. You see Landsberger coming back one-on-one. You've done that, huh?
Yeah. Here comes Ford down the floor, 76-68, feeding off to Wedman. And again, Colorado sharpshooter drills it from the outside. And the Kings, their lead challenged and cut to 4, all of a sudden run off 6 unanswered points and lead again by 10 with 5:15 to play in the third period.
The guard makes it happen. He comes up penetration. If you've got shooters around him, like Kansas City does, they can put it in.
Robinson crashes the boards. Ford leads up to Lacey. Big Sam heads into Robin. Gets the driving shot. And the Kings bust open the game with a 12-point lead.
Well, Kansas City can score points so quickly on you because of the way they push the ball up the court. They push it up even after a score, but that time on the rebound, you saw Lacey get into the fast break. We've talked about that. He can run for a big man, and when you see a big man like this get out on the break, it's 2.
Avis Super Saver rates. Special rates that save you money. Like our 7-day See America rate.
Look out, L.A. Bye.
Or our special holiday rates.
We get to go to grandmother's house.
And on weekends, Avis Super Saver rates can save you up to 50% off our weekday rates.
50% off?
Up to 50%.
See you Monday.
Call our toll-free number or your travel consultant. Some restrictions do apply.
The Miller people promised me a case of light beer if I could keep this ball spinning for the length of this commercial. Now, I'm not one to show off, but I do just about anything for a few light beers. You see, light's got a third less calories than the regular beer and it's less filling, so I can stay loose. But the thing I like best is the taste. And I believe at this time that somebody here owes me a case of that taste. Thanks a lot, boys. See you around.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Hi, Charlie.
Your services are no longer required.
I see no future for you.
Over 6 million shavers have said goodbye to their old razors and said hello to Atra, Gillette's best shave. Micro-smooth twin blades and Atra face-hugging action combine to outshave every razor we've ever made.
Good shave. Sorry, sir.
Atra, Gillette's best shave.
Atra, you're supernatural.
Next Saturday, the new-look CBS Sports Spectacular at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. Highlights of the European Figure Skating Championships with some of the world's great ones. East Germany's Jan Hoffman, Robin Cousins of Great Britain, and Vladimir Kovalov of the Soviet Union, a former world champion. And also the World Powerlifting Championships Part 2. You'll see fighters Greg Page and Don Martin also in action.
Chicago executing a double screen for John Brown very nicely. Now, what Chicago has done is you see the penetration again by Ford and the turnover. They've brought Scott May in at a guard. Now, he doesn't play guard very often. They've taken Mingeld out. So that's Scott May and Dudley in the backcourt for the Bulls at guard. They're trying to get some offense going. Of course, May's had 2 knee operations. He's been fairly disappointing as a pro and mostly disappointing to himself.
After the field goal by John Brown, the Bulls trail by 10. Dudley throws up one that didn't get any of it.
Well, Kansas City would like to see Dudley take that shot all day. He's really not a good outside shooter. He's going to have to give the Bulls penetration.
Scott May in the game. There he is. Former College Player of the Year, 1976 at Indiana University. Dudley is called for a foul.
Dudley upset about it. He felt like he was over that screen in time with the body. He is an excellent defensive player.
Well, last year here in Kansas City, you didn't have much trouble getting a ticket. This year, as you would expect with a team like this, there's 15,000 here today. Friday night, they played a home game at St. Louis. They played a couple there this season. And over 19,000. was no promotion on it. It was all live gate.
Not only do they win, but they're exciting to watch. Robinson that time taking it inside. Do you believe that he didn't play high school basketball? So it's just hard to...
Robinson didn't, neither did Mickey Johnson.
That's true. That's right.
Ray Meyer got a hold of him at the ball and turned him into a good one. He works hard, Robinson.
He does. He's really a true big forward in basketball, and so many teams need that position. He gets inside for them and does a lot of things well.
That's the fight of the week next Saturday on the CBS Sports Spectacular. Greg Page, the new Muhammad Ali, or so you would have us believe, against Don Martin. Birdsong takes it to the net.
It's like the thundering herd coming out of there. They have 3 and 4 on 1 fast breaks, and the Bulls are going to have to react to that. And when you turn the ball over, it's harder, but you have to get back and protect.
3:25 left to go, third period. Dudley takes a look inside, fires cross court to Ali Johnson. And when Big Wedman hits you, it's like getting knocked down by one of the Chicago Bears.
And Robinson right behind him. Here you'll see it again. You see the lob here. Ali open, he puts the fake up. Oh, could have been dangerous. 2 players coming down. That's only the second team foul also on the Kings, where the Bulls, they have 4.
Ali's back home. He spent some time here in Kansas City. Ford has 11 assists so far in this game. Bill Ford of the Kings.
His career high is 16. He could be well on his way to breaking that.
Don't take any away from you on the home floor.
No, that's where you get them most of them.
Base hits in your home park.
That's true.
84-70 now. Kansas City's in the lead. 3:10 to play, third period. Birdsong, you play him tight. May's a good defensive player, but he'll go by you. Artist just intimidates Big Sam.
Now there was an example of Scott May on Birdsong. Donnie completely lost him. He's not used to playing guard, and of course he doesn't have the quickness Birdsong has.
It's not complicated what they do. They just have big guys set picks either side of the lane. The shooters break off and lose their man.
Well, they
get into the pick.
They get good off-ball movement too. A lot of movement makes it difficult for the defensive player.
Here comes Ford. Robinson on the right. Ford's going to take it himself. And Scott May rebounds for Chicago. Lead goes to Dudley. Lacey's back. He got the roll.
There is luck.
Yes, sir.
He flipped that baby up just to get it over. And of course, Lacey, knowing he can block the shot.
Thank you so very much.
That's right.
86-72 with 2:20 to play. Phil Ford fires, falling down. People are going after that ball now. Big Bill losing some weight out there today, working hard.
Must be a dent in the floor where he hit that floor. He goes after the offensive boards. He's one of those people like Paul Silas of Seattle. You've got to make contact with him because when the ball goes up, he wants it back.
How about Moses Malone?
Wow, he's the best. He's so difficult to keep off the offensive board.
All right, goes to the rack, says Mose.
He's very strong too, Don.
Regional action next Sunday on CBS, including Seattle here at Kansas City, 2 divisional leaders. Houston and San Antonio, big central matchup. Now the loose ball tipped out of bounds. Will come inbounds to Brown of Chicago. 86-72. The Kings are in the lead.
The Kings are doing a good job of not allowing the ball into Gilmore. They're giving a lot of help. They know that one man can't guard him. So look, you see Robinson sitting right in front. He's just out of the picture, sitting right in front of Gilmore to give help.
Birdsong has it whacked away by May, and here comes Chicago back the other way. Scott May.
Oh, nice move. Good penetration. Now that's off-ball movement. That shows you what he can get with it. He moved away from the ball, came up to get it, and then, of course, made a nice move back inside, drawing a potential 3-point foul as you see it again.
Your basic Hoosier move.
Basic. He did that a few times at Indiana.
He's really had the injury problems. He's had 2 knee operations. Since his 3rd season, he's had something every year.
Right, and of course, you haven't really had an opportunity to see what he can do because he has not been healthy as a pro.
Birdsong down low to Darnell Hillman. 1.5 minutes to go, third period. Wegman, he's such a fine shooter. And he knows where to go to get his shot.
Yes, he does. And they know how to get him a shot. Gilmore stepped right up defensively there. doing his job, but Wedman still shot it right in the basket.
Wedman has hit for 22 points. He is the second leading scorer behind Birdsong, who has 25 for the Kings. Hillman comes up with the ball. Here comes Ford. Searches out the field, changes gears, and feeds up to Birdsong.
Wow, they're cooking now, no question about it. They've got their defense going. When the ball goes into Gilmore, Robinson just leaves his man and goes over to double team on Gilmore.
They got a bench of guys that just can't wait to get in there. Ollie Johnson pulls up and gets Chicago a much-needed hoop. It's 90-77 with 40 seconds left to play in the third period. Bill Ford pulls up.
You know, actually, Kansas City hasn't used their bench today as much as they have in the past.
That's where they have a big advantage. They get much more scoring off their bench most of the time than does the opposition.
Now, Chicago just hanging within striking distance, and they're pushing the ball back up, but they're going to have to play better defense as they did early in the third quarter.
Well, the only time you get Ford to slow it down.
Yeah, last second shot, right?
Wilbur Holland bumping him here. You can't hand check anymore, so you hit him with your gut. Darnell Hillman goes to Wedman. Missed one. Here comes Holland. Look at the horn went on him. Wilbur got off a runner, but too late. So the Kansas City Kings, who had a 10-point halftime lead, saw it cut to 4 here in the third period, and then extended to 11 by the end of this 12-minute session. We'll be back for the fourth quarter in a moment.
When you go to the movies and you're glad you did,
It's United Artists.
that's Transamerica. When you rent a car and get the feeling that you're number one,
That's Budget Rent-A-Car.
that's Transamerica. When your property is well insured and your independent agent is understanding.
That's Transamerica Insurance.
The many companies in the Transamerica family all stand for just one thing: first-rate service at a fair price. That's Transamerica.
The NBA on CBS will continue after this word from your local station. Burt Reynolds is Gator McCluskey in the hard-hitting movie adventure White Lightning, the explosive story of a hot rodder out for vengeance, Tuesday night on CBS.
With John McLaughlin, this is Don Criqui back in Kemper Arena in Kansas City. The Kansas City Kings leading the Chicago Bulls 90-79. The Kings have led right from the outset, put up 2 quick hoops at the very first part of the game, have never trailed. In fact, they've never trailed by less than 4. Chicago rallied back in that third period to come within 4.
Don, I think it's a good time to talk about defensive concepts because Chicago, to get back into this game, they're going to have to play some good defense, as Kansas City has up to this point to get the lead. So consequently, Chicago would like to try to push Kansas City to the sides. Don't allow them penetration to the middle. But that isn't easy because they run a point guard offense, and it's difficult to shade a guard out there, especially a guard with the quickness of a Billy McKinney, who is now in the game for Phil Ford.
High in the middle.
John Brown guns it over to Ollie Johnson, looking to work away from Wedman. It does. Ollie's got good arms going there.
Well, the big forward that time got the penetration. That was a nice shot, a good move inside, and I thought maybe the big guy might come over and try to block it. Hillman's a pretty good shot blocker, so is Lacey.
We're in the fourth period. Kansas City with a 9-point lead. McKinney in the game, guns it out to Lacey, and forces Gilmore out because Big Sam's hits him from the outside. Rebound to Gilmore. Looks for the outlet man. Kansas City's guard, you see, quickly drift out and cover the flank so you can't get the outlet and run. May, good move. Scott May fires off the run. A little too much there. Lacey rebounds quickly to McKinney. Full speed ahead.
Oh, the fans say a little bit too much body and arm there, but McKinney held the ball too long, and that was an example of getting caught down low, losing your dribble. San Antonio, Detroit scored. Wow, did you expect that?
Coach Vitale, I don't think expected that. New Orleans and Denver tied up in the fourth period. Denver's having its problems of late.
Yes, they are.
90-81. McKinney with the ball for Kansas City. There comes May. 6-7 bringing the ball up the court for Chicago. Wilbur Holland down low. Big Artis.
Can't allow that when he gets the ball deep for him to move into that left-hand hook. It's like allowing Jabbar to the right hand. You have to try to move them away and force him perhaps into the jump shot.
Those were his first points for Gilmore in the second half. He did not score in the third period. Has 14 for the game. 17. Foul call on Scott May.
Mark Landsberger in, Ollie Johnson going out. Landsberger, we've talked about his rebounding abilities. As you get a chance to look at him here, he's a big, strong, young guy. He goes to the offensive board very well, and he's had some great rebounding days. Today, the Kings have done a pretty fair job of keeping him away from the boards.
Otis Birdsong hits the free throw, and he has now scored 28 points for Kansas City.
You know, I would expect him to be a little bit better free throw shooter than he is. He's shooting 74% of the year. He's such a great shooter. You would expect him to be up somewhere around that 80 mark.
Well, he illustrates his team. They all get points. You know, he gets the most, 21-3 a game. They not only all contribute and look for the open man, they all score.
Well, they have 6 people to shoot over 50% of the year. At the other end, Chicago with only 1 person over 50, and that's Gilmore.
Kinney leads to Birdsong. Too much there, and Big Artis is down. Picks it up, goes to Holland. Lead goes to Brown. Goaltend, and Darnell Hillman to the basket goes, and Chicago now is back to within 7, 92-85.
Well, Chicago getting a break at one end on the replay, but look at Holland pushing it back up the court, running a nice fast break with John Brown and the goaltender.
Hillman working hard against Landsberger to get position down low. Here's McKinney feeding back to Darnell Hillman. McKinney knows what he's out there for. If he's open, get it.
That was nothing more than a triangle trying to post up Hillman. If he doesn't have it, you have shooters all around you. You can move it back out to.
Run that by us again now. A triangle?
Triangle, yes. With shooters all around. I should know I spent enough time in a triangle with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and whoever else. Just wait with your hands ready to shoot. I see May getting caught on a pin down. Very simple pin down for Birdsong. And of course, Kansas City sets a lot of off-ball screens for Birdsong, and it makes it tough on the defensive player. He gets a little light, it's in.
Bird's killing him. He's got 31 now for Kansas City. Artis lost the handle. Lacey picks it up, and here come the Kings with McKinney leading the way. Back to Bob Nash. Holland gets the rebound only by sheer chance. He was standing there. Came right out to him. Look at him go down. Hey, there's a
wow. Of course, allowing him to go left. He's a left-handed player, but he took it all the way in. That's that penetration we've talked about.
Excellent play by Wilbur Holland. A driving layup over the big man. Makes it a 96-89 game. A lot of time left. 8:22 to play. Birdsong can't get a shot against May. Lacey fires up a shot.
May played a good defense. What else can he do? Get up to try to intimidate Birdsong. The pass off. Lacey's right there to give help.
Washington leading Seattle now in the fourth period, 88-76. That game is at Seattle, the site of last season's NBA championship deciding game. Washington won it. Right now, there's a break in the action here at Kansas City. 8 minutes and 4 seconds left to go. With Otis Birdsong leading the way with 31 points, the Kings have the 98-89 lead.
toll-free, unidentified, 19-inch color TV pictures, each the best of its brand. Over 1,000 people saw them and picked the one with the best overall picture. They didn't pick America's biggest seller, Zenith, or the second biggest, RCA. Over 60% picked the 19-inch Sylvania Superset. Over 60%. We're not the biggest, but a lot of people think we've got the best picture. The Sylvania Superset.
From the wheat fields out in Kansas to the city by the bay, along the Mississippi, all across the USA. You're looking at the one car more people buy today. This is it, America, the new Chevrolet.
The new Chevrolet, a new generation car bought and embraced by more than 1 million people in its first 2 years. Caprice and Impala for 1979.
This is it, America, the new Chevrolet.
A family is about to lose its home forever. Not the home on the left. Allstate Homeowners Insurance can pay to rebuild that house. The real disaster is on the right. The owner died before the mortgage was paid. Allstate Life has mortgage protection insurance to help give your family a debt-free home if you die. You need mortgage protection insurance, too. So your family won't lose its home, see your Allstate agent for both kinds of insurance. Make sure your home lives on. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Back at Kansas City, 8:04 left to play in the game. Kings up 98-89. Next Sunday, NBA regional action. Philadelphia at Denver, Houston at San Antonio, Seattle at Kansas City, the New York Knicks against the New Jersey Nets. 1:45 Eastern Time, following Challenge of the Sexes. Next Tuesday night, the Chicago Bulls are back at Chicago Stadium. They play Portland. Now, right now, they are looking for a second consecutive win, but are some distance from it under their newly appointed coach, Scotty Robertson. You have to say something about your former coach, Larry Costello. I think the measure of that man, when he did lose his job, the first thing he did was call all 11 players and thank them. Now, for the...
That's right.
I don't say that in a deprecatory way. They did it, you know, just to say hi and goodbye.
Well, I think it's one of those unfortunate things, and I think Larry had a lot expected of him there, and many people feel like that they don't have the talent that maybe others feel like they do have, and that they should be winning, when in essence they just couldn't.
Well, he still has an NBA championship ring as a coach. Not too sure that's good. You have one in the same year.
That's right. Oh, looks like Billy McKinney may have turned an ankle here.
Billy McKinney is down. Yeah, he hurt the ankle all right. That was bad.
Can't really tell at this point. Of course, that's such a common injury in basketball. Don,
might be a cramp. Might just be a cramp. Straightening out his foot.
It's apparently the ankle area, and it looks like he may tape them anyway. They're pretty heavy, so hopefully it's nothing serious.
So we just have to hope that Billy McKinney, he's been a great story this season for Kansas City, coming in as a free agent out of Northwestern and some Chicago recreational leagues. Next Friday night, Rocky Marciano meets Muhammad Ali in an event staged to determine the all-time heavyweight champion of the world. They did this with computers. They also had the two men in the ring. That's next Friday night, a CBS late night special presentation. Was staged, and Billy McKinney doesn't have much motion in that left ankle, unfortunately.
He's not putting any weight on it at all, and usually if it's not bad, you put a little bit of weight down on it. That could be a 10-dayer. Ice time now. Keep the swelling out.
They lost Tom Burleson, their backup center, last week. He's gone for the season, had knee surgery a few days ago. So the Kings are going good. The injuries start to hit now. Nemesis of every team, win or lose. Long season, people start to break. Mickey Johnson gets the ball back, takes it down, and scores, and makes it a 98-91 game.
Whoa, the value of turnovers. Mickey Johnson taking that ball away from Robenstein in the backcourt.
And still a lot of time to go, John. We have 7 minutes left.
Plenty of time. Anything could happen in this game. Chicago could still win this basketball game. They're hanging just within range.
Kansas City keeps that offensive motion going and keeps getting the open shooter.
Kansas City's going to need the depth that they do have, and that's good that they've been using their bench this year and getting production out of them, because if injuries start hitting, you need the depth.
Reggie Theus gets it up. Tipped by Landsberger, and Darnell Hillman comes down and lets him know it is his. Here comes Ford. Looking to penetrate on Theus. Picked up by Brown. Ford at 6'1.5" takes it right through. Knocks down Johnson. Johnson's on the deck now. He's all right, though. No foul.
Wow, that's penetration at its best. Of course, there are a number, let me put it that way, of good guards in basketball that can give you penetration almost any time they want it.
Holland takes the long shot. Robenzien takes it down, and there's a foul call and loose ball against John Brown.
Boy, Robenzien went after that one. He knew that Chicago's been wanting to go to the offensive boards. Now look at it again. Here's the shot. Now watch Robenzien go up. He actually did not block his man Landsberger, but still John Brown got a shot at the ball and too much Robenzien.
Each team, well, now we have Chicago with 2 team fouls, Kansas City with 1 in the 4th period, 6:05 to play in it. And a whistle stops play.
Boy, can you imagine as you look at Scotty Robertson again, trying to analyze what do I do next? Can you imagine when Phil Ford and John Lucas of Golden State go at it? That must be penetration at its best. Gilmore coming back in for Chicago. Landsberger out. Sam Lacey in for Kansas City. And Hillman out.
Gilmore with 14 points. 10 below, more than 10 below his regular season average. And he has only 2 in the second half.
He really hasn't received the ball in good scoring position.
Right.
You have to credit Kansas City with that.
They're fronting him. They've got the big man behind him, even though Lacey most of the time is much in there with him, is much smaller. Those forwards play defense so well, Robenzien and Wedman. And their backups, they double up on Gilmore, denying the ball inside right now, as you see, a 13-point advantage for the Kings.
Team foul situation, the Bulls with 3, Kansas City with 1. Another turnover.
Lacey outruns everybody the ball, and here comes Ford. Watch, he'll take it right in. People there or not, doesn't matter. Lucius Allen in the game. The shot no good if it had gone, as there's a whistle prior to it.
Wow, looks like we have a blocking foul here. Mickey Johnson a little upset with it, and I agree. You can see that setup. Mickey Johnson was standing there waiting on Ford as he started to give penetration. And of course, Ford kicking it out to Lucius Allen, but the foul called before that.
So right now we're going to have a break in the action here at Kansas City. 5:49 to play in the game, and the Kings in the lead, 104-91.
When you shoot a lot of pool and bars, you want to stay fast and loose, and you don't want to get filled up. That's why I drink light beer from Miller. It's got 1/3 less calories than their regular beer, and it's less filling. Plus the taste is great. And even though a lot of people don't think pool is strenuous, let me tell you something. You can work up a real good thirst, even when you're just showing off.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Wherever you may roam, you'll find our name is known. You can trust a Delco.
Thanks, Delco.
Delco Freedom Battery. When things are getting thick and you want to start real quick, you can trust a Delco.
Thanks, Delco.
Delco Freedom Battery. They've got the stuff when the starting's tough. You can trust a Delco.
Thanks, Delco.
Delco Freedom Battery. Delco Freedom.
Thanks, Delco.
Who do you share the power with? The power of Vitalis Super Hold, the pump.
With Tom every morning.
I share it with Jill.
We share the power of the pump. Vitalis Super Hold. The pump keeps our hair looking terrific. Why should women settle for less power when they can get the holding power of the pump? It can hold longer than the leading men's aerosol. Come on. It's better when you share.
Get the pump, Vitalis Super Hold, and share the power.
Well, our little man folded here at Kansas City. He was, I guess he figures the Kings got a lock on it. We've got a lot of time to go, though. 5:49 to play. Kings 104, Bulls 91. Challenge of the Sexes next Sunday at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. Nancy Lopez versus Bill Rogers in golf. Caddy Costello, the all-time leading money winner on the Women's Professional Bowlers Tour, against Carmen Salvino. And speed skating, Sylvia Burka versus Gaëtan Boucher.
Excellent play, off-ball movement by Kansas City. Nash coming away from the ball. He had a temporary screen. He came along the baseline, had an easy layup. That's a reverse under the basket.
Washington continues to lead the Supersonics at Seattle. A 7-point advantage now in the 4th period. Holland takes it inside. He gets it to go. Continuation play. He was hacked going to the basket, so he'll shoot for the three-point play.
Well, Holland has the good outside shot, but there you see him taking it to the basket, and you'll get a chance to see it again. And this is a good move for a shooter to fake the shot and go inside. And, of course, he gets the opportunity for 3 points. Nice move.
Phil Ford fouled him. It was his third. 2 team fouls on the Kings, 4 on the Bulls here in the fourth period. 5:24 to play. Oh, man. Lacey set a pick, and poor Wilbur Holland just ran right into a truck.
I was blocked. Actually, that's Gilmore's responsibility to be up there talking to his players, warning them of screens like that. Loosen your teeth on that one.
There you go. It's like running into Dave Gibrons.
That's the 5th team foul on the Bulls. They're over the limit in team fouls, whereas Kansas City with only 2.
Bill Ford said he didn't want to come to Kansas City because he wanted to play for a winner. They finally convinced him that Kansas City could be a winner. He's been so instrumental in the success that they've opened up a 6.5-game lead over Denver in the Midwest Division. The Kings only a half game behind Seattle in the competition for the best one-loss percentage in the entire Western Conference. They could be real tough in these playoffs.
That was a nice play, but Holland coming up for the jump shot. A little too short. Kansas City not allowing any second shot opportunities.
Bill Ford gets it in, fires to Lacey. Lucius Allen gets a free one, albeit a long one. He knocks it out.
Lucius, of course, when he played with Milwaukee, they wanted him to be the playmaking guard, and here he finds himself being the shooting guard, replacing Birdsong.
Gilmore pulls up. Robenzine working harder, takes down the rebound, gives it to his big backcourt mate there, Lacey, who quickly gets it to a guard. They're just going to move that ball around now. The perimeters, they run the clock down, 4:20 to play in the game. Now Ford takes it inside, whips it to Robenzine. Pitch and catch, finally a shot, whistle before it.
Well, Mickey Johnson, of course, upset with that foul, but you don't want to foul Lacey that far from the basket. He can shoot out there, but that's a little too long for him.
See that fourth period score?
Wow.
San Diego leading now. New Jersey and Houston continue in a lock in the fourth period. Detroit still leading San Antonio by a decisive margin at Pontiac, Michigan.
San Antonio not putting it in the basket quite as often as they normally do.
Put in 149 points with the other night against Boston.
Wow. And that's with no three-point plays. As Scotty Robertson wants to talk it over and call timeout.
Billy McKinney, we're told, has a severely sprained left ankle. X-rays will be taken after the game. Right now, it looks like only a sprain, hopefully, not a fracture. 4:15 to go. We'll be back in a moment.
Think of yourself in a special way in the new Monte Carlo from Chevrolet. Think of yourself behind the wheel, enjoying that special Monte Carlo feel, standing tall, feeling proud. Put a little distance between yourself and the crowd.
Ladies and gentlemen, RCA presents The Great Rebate.
With your assistance, The Great Rebate will put a check from RCA into your pocket. Purchase one of these 22 selected RCA color TVs and get from $25 on this XL100 up to $100 on this color track. Yes, get up to $100, like magic, direct from RCA. But hurry before The Great Rebate disappears.
See your participating RCA dealer today.
It's so wonderful to make a child's dream come true. It's a moment of love, a joyous sensation. Ooh, come on and have a Pepsi day. Come on and taste the Pepsi way. Come on and have a Pepsi day.
Next Saturday at 5 and Sunday at 4 Eastern, see the top touring pros in action. The Glen Campbell Los Angeles Open. From tee to green, you'll say, you saw it on CBS Sports.
Big Sam Lacey, free throw line. As Kansas City has a 111-94 lead. As you see, the clock superimposed, 4:15 to play in the game.
Lucius Allen's going to get quite a bit more playing time now, and perhaps he will have to go back to playing some of that control guard or running guard offense with Billy McKinney hurt. Actually, this is only his 7th game of the season. Lucius suffered a stress fracture of the lower leg early in training camp.
Keane out there. They're taking Billy McKinney to the hospital, x-ray him right now. Severe sprain, the early diagnosis, but you don't know till they take the pictures. Here's Gilmore. Lucius Allen, UCLA to the basket.
Wow, he's got some quickness. He always did have it, and obviously that injury hasn't slowed him up that much. Nice steal. He advanced it up the court late.
He's a good team man, too. Good, lively guy, isn't he?
Yes.
Lucius. Mickey Johnson comes out for the offensive bound and goes back up and gets it.
Well, that's strong. Mickey going into the basket, actually. He gives up a lot of weight in there, but getting that ball back.
Mickey has 18 for Chicago. Gilmore with 14, only 2 in the second half. Holland's the leading scorer. Wilbur has 19 for the Bulls. Later in the game is Birdsong with 31 for Kansas City. Wedman has 22. Lacey has 16. Ford has 14. McKinney had 10 before he injured the ankle. Mickey Johnson starting up the floor, and Sam Lacey takes it away. Feeds to Narek, rejected by Brown, and he fouled him.
Well, nice play by Lacey. Actually, Mickey Johnson had a guard up in front of him. He should have given the ball up. A pass is quicker than a dribble anyway, and it could be a 4-point play. -2 for Chicago and 2+ for Kansas City. You see Lacey making the penetration, passing it back to Nash, and the block, but a little too much arm by John Brown puts Nash on the line.
Ollie Johnson comes back in the game now for the Chicago Bulls.
Nash, one of the players in that Kansas City bench, has done such a fine job this year, and they feel that's the main reason, or one of the main reasons they've had success this year.
Ollie Johnson takes a look down low at Gilmore. He's looking to hook it up on Sam Lacey. See how they double up on Gilmore. Basket goes. It will count, and Gilmore goes to the free throw line, Joe.
We haven't seen that many times today, and Gilmore normally would get the ball in position like that. He's going to get something out of it as Gus Gerard comes in. From Kansas City, Robinson going out. You'll get to see it. Now watch Gilmore turn to that left, and actually when he's been getting it in deep, they're allowing him to go to his left. Come that way. That's his strength, and it's a potential three.
Out there. They're taking Billy McKinney to the hospital, x-ray him right now. Severe sprain, the early diagnosis, but you don't know till they take the pictures. Here's Gilmore. Lucius Allen, UCLA to the basket.
Wow, he's got some quickness. He always did have it, and obviously that injury hasn't slowed him up that much. Nice steal. He advanced it up the court late.
He's a good team man, too. Good, lively guy, isn't he?
Yes.
Lucius. Mickey Johnson comes out for the offensive bound and goes back up and gets it.
Well, that's strong. Mickey going into the basket, actually. He gives up a lot of weight in there, but getting that ball back.
Mickey has 18 for Chicago. Gilmore with 14, only 2 in the second half. Holland's the leading scorer. Wilbur has 19 for the Bulls. Later in the game is Birdsong with 31 for Kansas City. Wedman has 22. Lacey has 16. Ford has 14. McKinney had 10 before he injured the ankle. Mickey Johnson starting up the floor, and Sam Lacey takes it away. Feeds to Narek, rejected by Brown, and he fouled him.
Well, nice play by Lacey. Actually, Mickey Johnson had a guard up in front of him. He should have given the ball up. A pass is quicker than a dribble anyway, and it could be a 4-point play. -2 for Chicago and 2+ for Kansas City. You see Lacey making the penetration, passing it back to Nash, and the block, but a little too much arm by John Brown puts Nash on the line.
Ollie Johnson comes back in the game now for the Chicago Bulls.
Nash, one of the players in that Kansas City bench, has done such a fine job this year, and they feel that's the main reason, or one of the main reasons they've had success this year.
Ollie Johnson takes a look down low at Gilmore. He's looking to hook it up on Sam Lacey. See how they double up on Gilmore. Basket goes. It will count, and Gilmore goes to the free throw line, Joe.
We haven't seen that many times today, and Gilmore normally would get the ball in position like that. He's going to get something out of it as Gus Gerard comes in.
Hey, don't go to
Kansas City, Robinson going
now,
in. You get to see it. Now watch Gilmore turn to that left, and actually when he's been getting it in deep, they're allowing him to go to his left, come that way. That's his strength, and it's a potential three.
Washington now by 8 over Seattle, fourth period. We have 2:42 left to go here at Kansas City. It's 116-99. Lacey outside. Gus Gerard, he's a leaper. 6'8".
It's not always easy to come in off the bench when you really haven't played. Shoot the ball right away. He just did.
It's a lot easier when you're up by 19 to do it.
That's right.
Gilmore, with a flick of the fingers, gets 2 points for Chicago, but they have to move now and get the ball back. You're talking about the great play of Moses Malone, an offensive rebounder. There's a lot fewer rebounds now in a game than there used to be when Chamberlain and Russell were playing because it's such better percentage shooting.
That's right. The percentages are up, and of course the main reason for that is the no hand checking rule.
120-101. Chicago down. Theus moving quickly to the basket. Gets it off the backboard. Reggie Theus now with 13 points for Chicago.
You know, excuse me, Don, he made that look easy and good, but that's not really an easy shot at all. You have to decide whether to use the board or lay it up softly.
Boy, that was Kansas City's game.
Boy.
The guard penetrates, kicks.
Many times he's kicking it out for a long shot, but they put it in.
Left, and here comes substitutes into the game. Richard Washington comes in for Kansas City. Sam Lacey gets a rest. Scott Lloyd comes in the game for Chicago as Artis Gilmore goes out.
Scott Lloyd usually plays 4 or 5 minutes a game because Gilmore, of course, plays right around 44 minutes a game. That's a lot of time.
That's a lot of time. Nowadays, not too many guys go more than 32
That's
starting.
right. A lot of time.
Too many Havliceks left.
Well, Kansas City, Birdsong plays the most time for them, and that's 34 minutes a game.
Havlicek used to average over 46 a game for a season.
Yeah, that's when he was 36.
That's right.
Gus Gerard, 3 straight jumpers.
Well, he's come down now to what they call garbage time. Everybody's out to get some.
Beef it up as you look at Artis Gilmore. Looks like he worked pretty hard, doesn't he? He probably sweats more than you and I weigh.
This inch. 124-105. Kansas City in the lead with 105 left to go.
You know, the Kings have a confidence that builds as you start winning. And any team that wins, they feel that no matter what situation they get into, they can come out of it.
Gus Gerard is getting it all right now. Eating them up. MVP, we get Phil Ford with 16 assists in this game. He was the whipcracker for Kansas City. Ricky Johnson and Gus Gerard start to mix it up. The commissioner comes down hard on you nowadays to start to swing.
Or if you're going to fight, you don't want to do it on national television. Actually, neither player really wanted to go at it. They were still fighting for the ball, and some elbows got caught in there, and they just kind of kept pushing and shoving from that point. Now here you'll see it. Look at it now. Gerard pushes off Mickey. Well, that's just kind of rubbing one another. Take it easy on him, Commissioner.
Mickey, the frustration of it all. Goes to the bench now with 42 seconds left to play. They pick up the chant here in Kansas City. Robinson comes back in the game. Lucius Allen goes out. Boy, this is a spirited place, Kansas City, for basketball. And it's nice to see the franchise do this well. A lot of nice people involved with it. Paul Rosenberg, the president, Bob Margolin.
This is Promotion City also, too. They always have something going on before the game, at halftime, during timeouts. And that's the first shot Gus Gerard is going to take.
Joe Axelson, the general manager, has done a superb job here, making trades, making deals. They were down. All of a sudden, they're right up there.
And Don, they have proved you can build it with draft picks. And
now they've done
that. And those 5 draft picks have all been their picks. Number 1.
40 seconds left to play in the game. Chicago trailing badly at this point. Ollie Johnson takes it in. Kansas City keeps on working. You got 2 Kings crashing into each other. And the big fella gets into the basket.
There's still people on the floor. Boy, Phil Ford. He handled the ball or what?
He knows where he wants to go with it.
Look at it. Too much, Phil. Too much.
That's got to be a foul.
Yes. Foul on Dudley.
Carl Dudley couldn't get Phil Ford, so he couldn't get the ball, so he ended up getting Phil. I'd like to thank our producer, Bill Barnes, our director, John McDonough. Statistician Mike Sanders is here at Kansas City with 12 seconds left to play. The Kansas City Kings, the comeback team, the turnabout team of this season, goes on and wins its 11th consecutive game at home this season, extending the season record to 37-21. And actually, if Washington's lead holds up, Washington beats Seattle, Kansas City will have the best one-loss record in the Western Conference. They can make that stand up for the playoff time. They could be tough. Scotty Robertson looking on. He will go to a 1-1 as a head coach at Chicago. Mengel looks to go in. Kansas City doesn't let up. Cotton Fitzsimmons knows what to do when the big guys come. He cleared out. That is it. Final numbers up. And Kansas City wins its 11th straight home game, beating the Chicago Bulls 130-107 here at Kemp Arena in Kansas City. And there's our MVP. The Chevrolet $1,000 scholarship going to the General Scholarship Fund of the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill. Because of the superb play today of Phil Ford, odds on to be Rookie of the Year, and a lot of support for MVP in the entire league this year. We'll be back in a moment.
Think of yourself in a special way in the new Monte Carlo from Chevrolet. Think of yourself behind the wheel, enjoying that special Monte Carlo feel, standing tall, feeling proud. Put a little distance between yourself and the crowd.
Here's to good friends. Tonight is kind of special.
Hey, where's Bob?
I thought he was with you.
No, you're kidding.
He's not down yet.
Hey, don't you think something happened?
Let's start looking.
Hey, how about a Lowenbrow?
Bob!
When you want the taste of a truly great American beer, tonight, let it be Lowenbrow.
Hey, you know, for a minute there, you really had us worried.
I know. Thanks. Your services are no longer required.
I see no future for you.
Over 6 million shavers have said goodbye to their old razors and said hello to Atra, Gillette's best shave. Micro Smooth twin blades and Atra face-hugging action combine to outshave every razor we've ever made.
Good shave. Sorry, sir.
Atra, Gillette's best shave.
Atra, you're supernatural.
Phil Ford led the way for Kansas City again today, 16-6 and 16 points. And a 130-107 victory for the Kings. Now let's go to John McLaughlin.
Thank you, Don. I have Otis Birdsong with me. He had 31 points today. He's a great shooter, and obviously your team has it all going. The confidence is there. You feel good.
Well, we feel great right now. We're in a great position, John, and you know, we've been playing pretty good all season long, and you know, it's not over yet. You know, we can't get cocky. We just got to keep it up.
You have to love Phil Ford.
Well, he's a great guy, and you know, what can you say about him as a player? You know, he the one makes our team go, and I'm just thankful he's here.
Okay, he's one reason for your success. Another, of course, Cotton Fitzsimmons. He's a super guy. Talk to him before the game. He says he tries to come up with team defensive concepts, but he says, I've got the players to put out for me all the time.
Well, you know, Cotton has done just a great job, and you know, in our eyes, he's the coach of the year. But you know, he's instilled confidence in us on the road and at home. You know, And when, the key to winning this league is on the road. It's so tough. And he has gave us the confidence to win on the road. I think that's been the big difference this year.
Otis, what about your team defense? I think you play excellent defense, and that's one of the main reasons for your success. It makes your offense go, doesn't it?
Well, last year, we were at the bottom in team defense. And, this year, we're in the top 10 or the top 5. And there's no reason we can't stay there because Cotton, he gets on us all the time. And I think that's the big key, as well as, Phil and the rest of the guys. But, team defense, if you play the defense, the offense will be there. And you got to have good defense to win. And that's what we've been winning with.
I want to go back to Phil Ford for just a moment. Have you seen anyone defensively that can stop him and stop that penetration?
Well, there's a lot of super guys around the league, great defensive players, but when Phil gets going and gets to penetrating, not to take nothing away from nobody in this league, but there's no way you can stop Phil from penetrating.
Okay, is this the year for Kansas City? Is the confidence there that you people can go all the way?
I think the confidence is there. The only thing that's in the back of my mind is, injuries. We lost Tommy and Billy got hurt today. If we can stay away from those injuries, those serious injuries, I think we'll be in great shape.
Well, those things are important. You have an exciting team, and you're having a great year. Good luck to you, Otis.
Thanks a lot, John.
Don, back to you.
All right, John, thank you. The final score in, the Kansas City Kings winning their 11th consecutive game at home, beating the Chicago Bulls 130-107. Otis Birdsong, who you just met and heard from, led all scorers in the game. He had 31 points for Kansas City. The leading scorer for Chicago, Gilmore had 19, Holland had 19, but it was really the cut down of Gilmore's offense in the second half that really stopped Chicago when they rallied back in the game. Here's our people who've been so helpful: Bill Barnes, John McDonough, Gail Bledsoe, Stan Mitchell, Hal Schutzman, our entire CBS crew here at Kansas City. Join us next Sunday afternoon for more NBA regional basketball here on CBS. A 4-game card coming up. Check your local listings for the game in your area. It's 1:45 Eastern time they tip it off. For John McLaughlin, this is Don Crickey from Kemper Arena, Kansas City. Glad you could be with us as the Kansas City Kings, red hot, win again 130-107 over Chicago.
When you watch the NBA, when you watch the NBA.
Watch the Incredible Hulk rip apart a haunted house to save a beautiful woman when he returns on his new night, Friday at 8, 7 Central and Mountain on CBS.